are in a very real political paralysis. Needless to say, control of both the House and the Senate continues to hang in the balance. As of the making of this video, we're still counting votes. That's right. Our de facto third world election system is still counting votes, and there are estimates that votes will continue to be counted for days on end. But no matter what the results in the end, nothing changes the fact that we are a deeply divided country. One very astute observer put it this way: I guess the big takeaway is libs want this. Crime, inflation, runaway homelessness, drug addiction, replacement migration. We all sort of assumed they would recoil at the brink, but no, they were like, yeah, this is what we voted for. We are a deeply divided nation. We're becoming more and more divided with every passing election. And that, I believe, is unfortunately where this is all heading. Now, in the meantime, a very clear narrative is starting to emerge here on the right. And that, of course, is the shining star of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Already Daily Wire and Ben Shapiro, they all appear to be in a full court press to make DeSantis the 2024 nominee. I think that's highly premature, to say the least, at this point. But the very fact that you're going to be hearing so much buzz and chatter surrounding DeSantis's presidential prospects is clear evidence of what an amazing night he had and what an amazing job he's done as governor of Florida. He did the unthinkable. He took on Florida's establishment, which we have to remember is very rhino. Remember, Florida's much like Pennsylvania, which is now, as it seems, as blue as Florida is red. But Florida was governed by neocon establishment rhinos. Charlie Crist was their Republican governor, for heaven's sakes. Jeb Bush. I mean, they were rhino central. And in 2018, DeSantis won by less than a percentage point, beating that Democrat crackhead, and has since transformed Florida into a solid red ultra MAGA state. He has effectively crushed the rhino establishment there, and that is, for right or for wrong, again, it's all going to work itself out, but that is propelling him straight to one of the top contenders for 2024. He was clearly the star last night, while all the rest of the Democratic incumbents were either barely holding on, at the very least, or saw their margins of victory significantly depleted, whatever it was. DeSantis went in the complete opposite direction. His less than 1% victory in 2018 transformed into a near 20-point blowout in 2022. That is the stuff, gang. That is very impressive. There was more good news as well in the midst of all this disappointment. North Carolina, which has long been considered a swing state, a battleground state, continued to get even deeper. Yesterday, it wasn't just Ted Budd winning the open Senate seat. It was North Carolina's Supreme Court, which has been notoriously liberal for ages. Conservatives didn't just finally take it over. They won a supermajority on the court. So they flipped the court there. They have supermajorities in their state legislatures. So North Carolina, Florida, Ohio with J.D. Vance, Iowa, these are all now officially red states. They're as red as red gets at this point. Forget the battleground nonsense you'll hear with those states. They're not Democrat in any major way for the foreseeable future. It's just not going to be happening. And we did flip several school boards across the country yesterday as well, which is, of course, good news. But other than that, what are we looking at here? I do think we're seeing a kind of national balkanization happening. And this is something we've been talking about a lot on this channel on a number of occasions because it is reflective of a major dynamic going on all over the world today. And that's the dynamic of political and cultural balkanization. In its formal sense, it's known as neo-secessionism or neo-tribalism. That's the term used by Michel Mafasoli. And this is a phenomenon where the modern world and its meta-narratives that have held nations together, they basically implode. And so populations reorganize more and more around basic regional, religious, and often racial identities, which often translate into calls eventually for political secession. And we're seeing this all over the world today. But the precondition for political secession is this sense of political and cultural balkanization. And poll after poll after poll shows that secessionist sentiments are stronger now than they have ever been since the mid-19th century here in the United States. That is what I fear from this political stagnation, this political paralysis, this stalemate. That's where I fear it may be taking us. Now, there's more to be said here, because this puts the whole notion of building a parallel policy, a parallel economy, front and center for patriots going forward. But I'll address that in another video. But in the meantime, we'll, of course, continue to monitor things as they develop, and I plan on giving you regular updates throughout the day. God bless.